Ever feel like someone's trying to stuff you into a box that's way too small?
Um, like when you're asked for your papers and suddenly your whole being is reduced to a name, a birthday, a place of origin.
Yeah, it's like those labels just scratch the surface, don't you think?
It's definitely more complex than that.
The philosopher Michel Serres argued that reducing someone's identity to just a handful of categories is not only limiting, but also logically flawed.
He saw it as a fallacy, mistaking a part for the whole day, with potentially dangerous consequences.
And he wasn't just talking about bureaucratic headaches.
Serres believed this error in thinking, this oversimplification of identity, was at the root of so much suffering in the world.
Wow, that's a pretty bold statement.
Exactly. He recognized that prejudice and discrimination stem from this very issue defining individuals solely by their race, gender, or any single characteristic.
It's a way of dehumanizing others, of failing to see the dynamic, multifaceted individuals they truly are.
That's where Serres' idea of identity as an intersection of experiences comes in.
Instead of a static passport, imagine one that reflects the constantly evolving tapestry of your life, your travels, your passions, the people you've connected with, everything that makes you you.
It's a powerful image that speaks to the richness and dynamism of our identities.
So he's saying that we should see our identity as a complex, constantly changing mosaic, rather than just a few labels.
Serres argued that embracing a multitude of experiences and perspectives actually enriches our understanding of ourselves and the world around us.
It makes you wonder, do we sometimes cling too tightly to a single aspect of who we are? Maybe it's our profession, our background, or a particular passion.
Could it be that by clinging to these labels, we're actually limiting ourselves?
Yeah, that's a really interesting thought.
It's a natural human tendency to seek definition, to find comfort in categories.
That's true.
But Serres challenges us to embrace the multiplicity of our identities, to see ourselves as a collection of experiences, rather than a single fixed label.
He suggests that this openness to complexity allows us to be more adaptable, more empathetic, and ultimately more fully human.
It's a profound idea, and it's something worth thinking about in terms of how we view ourselves and how we interact with the world around us.
That's a good place to start. This idea of embracing a multifaceted approach of constantly seeking new experiences and knowledge seems to be at the heart of Serres' thinking on education as well. He even grappled with the question of how one even begins to learn philosophy, a field that by its very nature encompasses all of knowledge.
Right, it's a daunting task, to say the least.
It really is.
He found traditional academic learning to be limited in this regard.
In what way?
Well, Serres championed a more holistic approach, one that valued real-world experiences and connections as much as book knowledge. He believed that to truly understand the human condition, we need to immerse ourselves in diverse cultures and ways of life, just like many great philosophers throughout history did.
So it's about going beyond the textbook, right? Actually experiencing the world firsthand.
Exactly.
He even coined this phrase, Diderot, Ulysses plus Aesop. It's brilliant, isn't it?
It is.
He's advocating for a blend of knowledge, exploration, and that deep understanding of human nature that stories offer. He seemed to believe that true learning happens at the intersection of these different ways of knowing.
And he goes as far as to say that literature, with its power to move and inspire us, might be even more profound than philosophy in conveying certain truths about ourselves and the world.
And he has a point. He tells this fascinating story about an Athenian orator who was desperately trying to warn his people about an impending invasion.
Oh, I remember that one.
Logic and reason failed to move them, but a well-told story, even an unfinished one, captured their imaginations and spurred them to action.
It really highlights how powerful a well-crafted narrative can be.
Absolutely.
It underscores the power of stories to engage us on a deeper, more emotional level. They have a way of making abstract concepts relatable and memorable in a way that pure logic sometimes can't.
So are you saying that sometimes a good story can be more persuasive than a logical argument?
In some cases, absolutely. Think about it.
Correct.
What's more likely to stick with you? A dry list of facts or a compelling story that brings those facts to life?
I see what you mean. Stories have a way of bypassing our rational defenses and speaking directly to our hearts and minds.
Exactly. And that's what makes them such a powerful tool for learning, understanding, and even persuasion.
It's exciting to think about the possibilities that opens up.
It certainly is.
But it also raises questions about the changing role of educators and the unique value of in-person learning experiences.
That's an important point.
There are definitely valid arguments on both sides.
Some might say that no matter how advanced technology becomes, it can never fully replicate the energy of a classroom or the irreplaceable bond between a teacher and student.
That's true.
Serres acknowledged this complexity.
He understood that even traditional in-person learning environments weren't always effective.
He believed it ultimately came down to the individuals involved, the dynamics at play, and the willingness of both students and teachers to embrace the messy, beautiful process of learning.
It's a good reminder that there's rarely a one-size-fits-all solution, whether we're talking about education, technology, or even just how we approach knowledge itself.
Serres was a true advocate for embracing complexity and challenging our assumptions.
He saw connections where others saw only disparate ideas and encouraged us to do the same.
So as we navigate this world overflowing with information, this constant barrage of messages and data, how do we filter through the noise and find real meaning? What can we take away from Serres' insights that might help us make sense of it all?
It goes back to some of the core principles we've been discussing.
Cultivating a richer, more multifaceted sense of self by embracing a diversity of experiences and perspectives. Recognizing the power of stories, both our own and those of others, to shape our understanding of the world. And perhaps most importantly, striving to be active creators of knowledge rather than passive consumers.
It's about being engaged, critical thinkers who are constantly seeking new connections and challenging the status quo, much like Serres himself did throughout his remarkable life and career.
He never stopped questioning, never stopped exploring.
And he seemed to find immense joy in that process of discovery.
It makes you wonder, in an age where machines can seemingly mimic so many human capabilities, how can we nurture that uniquely human spark of invention? That ability to see the world with fresh eyes and bring something truly original into being.
That's the question, isn't it?
It's a challenge to hold on to that sense of wonder and to approach each day with a spirit of curiosity and a willingness to learn.
Perhaps that's the greatest legacy Serres leaves us with, an invitation to never stop questioning, never stop exploring, and to always remain open to the possibility of discovering something new.
And to keep searching for those unique intersections where ideas collide and new insights emerge.
And maybe that's the key to navigating the information age with a sense of purpose, curiosity, and a willingness to create.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Michel Serres.
And until next time, keep exploring.